Functions in Python. A function is a block of code executed when it is called. It's a simple kind of a definition which is easy to remember. Note that function is a block of code executed when it is called. It takes the values in the form of arguments and keyword arguments, generally known as parameters, as passing values. Okay, so what you can take it takes the values in the form of arguments and keyword arguments, generally known as the parameters, as passing the values. Okay, the syntax would be with a reserved keyword called as def, that is def, to write any to define any particular function. Okay, so def stands with a reserved keyword in Python, which is usually used to design or define a function. Okay, so now args like are pretty much represented with the single star, like with apple, banana. Okay, whereas the keyword args, which contains the key and as well as the value, which is pretty much denoted, represented with double stars. So how would we do it? So let's start with the basic functions to define it. Are you with me, Javed?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So define function. So let's define a function, something called as welcome, like this. And to define a function, we need to give an closed and an open parenthesis with a colon so that we can start a function. And if we say here as print and like this, if we just put an hello over here, so you would get a function. So the what is the name of the definition? A function is a block of code is executed when it is called. So we have to call the function. Okay, like this. So if I execute this, I would get the message as hello. Okay, like that. So let's do some more examples like this. Okay, I'm defining one more particular function. Define something called as name. Here I will type f name, that is nothing but the first name, l name, that is nothing but the last name. Okay, so now again I will write print statement here, and I will write here as I will just print here as f name comma l name, that is nothing but first name and last name. But when I'm calling, I would call the name here like this. I would call the first name as, let us say, Randy, and on the last name would like to say as Johnson. Okay, when I execute this, you can see that Randy Johnson is being printed. So now let's do one more calculation, as I said you, like we will do a basic calculation of the mathematics. For example, define like nothing but a calci like this, okay, like with an empty function, and I would say here as passing the parameters as, let's say, x comma y. Okay, so I'm passing two parameters. Now I would like to give a print statement, something called as addition like this. Okay, and I would say x plus y over here. I would copy this, I would paste this, paste this, paste this, paste this like this. I would say subtraction, I would say multiplication, I would say division, I would say modulus like this. Okay, so now like here, what would I need to do? I would do minus, here it would be multiplication, here it would be division, here it would be percentile. So when I go ahead and call out this particular calci like this and print like 2 comma 3, or like if I say 10 comma 20 like this, or I can say 20 comma 10 like this, or 20 comma 5 like this. Okay, now if I just call out this particular function, you can see that addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus is been printed. You understood the magic of it?
Yes, sir. Very.
Now here, what will I do is, now let's take an input from the user. So I would define a function like this. I'll define a function and I would be writing you something called as, user inputs. Okay, user inputs, and I'll pass an empty parameter, and I would say that name is equal to, since we are taking in a string here, and we would write enter your name. Okay, and age we are writing here, and since age is nothing but an integer, so I'm taking it in the integer form, and I would write here enter your age like this. Okay, and the moment when you write enter your age, you would be able to get the age like this. Now, and you can pretty much define whatever you want using the inputs, and like if you wanted to write address, location, like You can just pretty much write location is equal to, since location would be also in a string, and you can just write here enter your location. Okay, so now when you do this, when you call out this particular function, you needed to give a print statement like this, print, and you can type here something called as name and age, and as well as location. And if you wanted to modify this, how would you do it? You can directly write a print statement, put an F here, and you can say my name is, okay, and you would get a name, and you can hit enter, and you can write my age is. I'm just showing you in a basic way how to write it, and again it will, you can get it like this. One second. If I hit enter, I will write I am currently I'm currently at, okay, like this. And here I would be writing here as name, here I would be writing here as age, here I would be writing here as location. Okay, now this print statement is not required for us. Now if I save this program and if I wanted to execute this, like what do I need to do? I need to call out the user inputs. If I execute this program, it is asking me to enter the name. If I say something called as something called as April, okay. Age I would like to say is at 24. Location I would like to say it as, let us say I would like to say something called as Bangalore itself, okay. Let's say if I hit enter, you can just say my name is April, my age is, like that you can get it. So if you wanted to modify again, you can just pretty much put a slash n over here, a slash n over here. That's it. You would be able to get the
Excellent.
output like this again. See, what if I type something called as June here, and 21, and what if I type something called as California like this, and you can say this, my name is June, my age is, my current location is California. You understood what did we do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. So this is one way to write it. So let's get started. Awesome. So now it's the written statement. So most people get confused the difference between a print and a written statement. Why do we use it? So we will tackle this and we will try to figure out what is the best way to use a written statement. The written statement is used to exit a function and go back to the place from where it was called. This statement can contain an expression that gets evaluated and the value is returned. If there is no expression in the statement or the written statement itself is not present inside a function, then the function will return the none object. Okay, let's see what exactly this means. So basically, like if I say define name, and if I give an empty string here, and if I say written, and I would say something called as written here, something called as, let's say, Alex. Okay, let's say Alex. Like this, if I just go ahead and write it. Now, if I just call out the name, what will happen? Will it be printing anything? So do not worry about it. This was our previous outputs. To have it our output, I would just give a print statement over here. I would like to just write an equal to symbol so that we can understand that something is happening after this particular bar. Okay, so you can see that nothing has been printed after this output. So what would I do to make this particular print this output? So what if I just write a print statement over here and execute this? You can see it, Alex has been printed here. Why? Because as I said you, written statement is used to exit a function and go back to the place from where it is called. This statement can contain an expression that get evaluated and the values returned. There is no expression in the statement and written statement itself is not present inside a function. Then the function will return the none object. So basically what exactly happens when you call out a function who can go ahead and make sure can give you, without a print statement you wouldn't be able to see it. So we'll do the another example to show you what exactly the written statement could do. Define add, let's say, and you do a comma b, okay, a comma b, and the moment when you do it here you would say written a plus b like this, okay, and you would say something called as print, to print this particular output, or you can just directly call out the add like 1 comma 3 is nothing but 3, so you wouldn't get any output unless you go ahead and type a print. See, you go ahead and type a print, you got a none, you got only Alex, you didn't printed the addition. So like this, if I just execute, I should get a result as 3. What if now I will, what if Raj, why can't we take an object something called as a is equal to like this, and if we can print a like this, so see like this also it will work. So you can pretty much write addition like that, okay, addition, and you can hit an enter like this. Okay, so now basically you would find a proper result as addition is 3. You understood what did I do? Okay, now without a written, we will try to do and make you understand and clear your doubt. Why did I take an object here? So now, as you know, define name is equal to, if I just type print here as, let us say hello, or let us say something called as, I would type as Thomas, let's say. Okay, so I've defined a function, and you know when you call out a name, what happens, ma?
It will print the name.
It will print the name as Thomas. Now, what if I will take an object A is equal to name, and if I print and that particular object A, what happens if I execute this? None will be printed. Why? Because there is no written statement inside it. That's the reason. That's the reason it will happen there. So what if rather than like this, what if I just have a written something called as Thomas, let's say Thomas like this, and I take an object x is equal to something called as name like this, and I would be printing this x here, executing this, you would get Thomas be printed here. So you understood the difference between the written and the print statement now? Why exactly use written and
Yes.
why do we do it? Okay, so now like this you can pretty much able to execute your operation. So now let's
It's
look
very
into, yes.
confusing.
Now let's learn about the arguments and keyword arguments. As I said you in the previous earlier, just like the argument stands like the strings, whereas the keyword arguments can give you a result in the form of a dictionary that has a key and the value. So the argument is represented by the single asterisk, whereas the keyword arguments are represented with double asterisk. So let's do two examples to understand in detail. So let me just go ahead here and just type a print statement that we are doing arguments and keyword arguments. Okay, so like star aux and double star kw aux, that was keyword arguments. Okay, so that our output remains the same. So when I execute this program, see that we are working from here. Okay, so now let me just start the program for you. Now let's say define. Let's say I would be defining something called as, now I will be defining a function something called as, to print the arguments and all, something called as details, just like that. And if I type aux like this, okay, and if I type double star keyword aux like that, okay, and if I start the program, I say a print statement as aux r, okay, aux r, and I would say here comma, nothing but I'll just write aux. In a similar way I would write for kw aux. So here I would write kw keyword arguments are, okay, and I would write here as something kw. Similarly, now what would I do is, now I will call the details. In the details I would like to write a lot of things. You can see here what and all I'm going to write. Okay, I would write something called as, let's say Ron, okay, comma, I would write Michelle like that, or Michael, okay, and I would write as let's say Thomas with the name, okay. I would write something called as 23 as age, okay. These are nothing but the arguments what I write. Now I will write the keyword arguments. Keyword argument, what will I write is, I will write location is equal to, let us say Australia like this, okay, location is equal to Australia, and I would like to say that full name is equal to, let us say I would write something called as Randy Johnson here. Okay, now I can write something called as role or company name. I can just write something called as company is equal to, let us say I would write something called as Google here. Now if I execute this, what happens? You see the magic. Now you can see that arguments are in the form of a tuple, and keyword arguments are in the form of a dictionary. So you would get values of arguments in the form of a tuple, that Ron, Michelle, Thomas, 23 is been printed because these are the single arguments, whereas the keyword argument, something called as location is equal to Australia, full name is equal to Randy Johnson, company is equal to Google, automatically you got in a dictionary form. We would learn more about the Python collections once we are discussing about the tuple, dictionary, list, and set. So you would be able to understand even more clearly. But for now, you just remember what are arguments and what are keyword arguments. Okay?
Keyword arguments prints as dictionaries.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other one, sir?
In the form of a
Normal
tuple. In the form of a tuple.
tuple. TUPLE. This is a TUPLE, right? Tuple.
Yeah. You can pretty much type any particular references. For example, let's say if I type something called as define. Okay, something called as define, and I would say something called as like uh, calculation, like CAL. I would just type CLC like this. Since the CALC already exists, let me just type calculation properly here. And I would say star X, and I would say double star Y. Double star Y, like this. Okay, so now this X will become the arguments, Y will become the keyword arguments. Now if I just say something called as print over here, and I would say something called as calculation, or I can directly say rather than calculation word, a moment, let me define something called as notes here. So notes, and in this I would say star A, star B. Okay, arguments and keyword arguments. Okay, print. Okay, here I would say something called as my notes on arguments. Like that, I will copy A like this, and I will say keyword arguments like this properly for you to understand in the basic way, and I would say here as B. Now when I just call out a function called notes here like this, notes, and I would say something called as like anything, A, I, A, E, I, O, U. These are nothing but all the arguments. Okay, nothing but all the arguments. Okay, now you can pretty much say something called as A is equal to alpha, B is equal to something called as Bravo, C is equal to something called as Charlie, like that. Okay, D is equal to something called as Delta, like that. Okay, so let me just type like that. So since it's a string, guys, I have to mention it in the quotes like this. Okay, you're understanding what I'm trying to do here, right?
Yes, sir.
So like this, I would be calling it. So let's execute this and see the result. My notes on arguments, AEIOU properly. My notes on keyword arguments, A, B, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. Like that, you would be able to do the keyword and arguments. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Now, when we are talking about the recursion, like in the function, so I would like you to know the definition, like a proper meaning, what exactly it means. Recursion is a process of defining something in terms of itself. It is even possible for the function to call itself. These types of construct are termed as recursive functions. A Python code to explain a recursive function which is calling itself. So basically I'm showing a recursion function for you to understand with a factorial method. So factorial means nothing but in your mathematics, if you have seen something called as 3 factorial. 3 factorial can be like you can write 3 into 2 into 1. So the result would be
Yes, sir.
number
Exactly.
6, right? So if I
Yes.
say something called as 4 factorial, it would be something called as 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. What would be the result? 6 fours, 24. Like that, you would get the result of the factorial number. So factorial number, writing it using a function, we will do it an example to understand the recursion. What is a recursion? Recursion is a process of defining something in terms of itself. Okay, so here we are calling the function inside a function again and again. You can pretty much note this as a nested functions as well. Okay, so now here you can see that I have defined a function called factorial, where I have passed just a one argument called as x, so that we can say factorial of 6, factorial of 24, factorial of 3, factorial of 2, whatever it could be. And you know that one more definition, if I say 1 factorial, what is the output of it? 1 is equal to 1. 1 factorial is always 1. Okay. If anything else, if you just go something, if you can write it like that, it will go to the if x is equal to 1, return 1. That's it. Okay. Else anything apart from x, you can pretty much type something called as else, and you can return like x into factorial of x minus 1. Of course, like, because you can see that 4 is the decrease to 3, 3 is decreased to 2, 2 is decreased to 1. That's the reason I have wrote it as x minus 1. Understood? And
Yes.
x
Yes.
into means the number is multiplied with this particular so basically you factorial of 4, if you say, here it will come, since you type the number 4, it is not equal to 1, so it will come to the else statement, and here it would be something called as, let's say, if we type a 6 factorial itself, because I have printed the 6 factorial because there are the return statements contained over here. Now what if I say, what happens is, here if you type the 6 number over here, it will be like something called as factorial of 6. The first number would be 6 with this x. Now here it would be multiplied like this. It would be multiplied like this, and it would go something called as 6 minus 1. Okay, something called as factorial of 6 minus 1, like this. Factorial of 6 minus. Now what is the result again? Now the result again would be 6 is multiplied with factorial of 6 minus 1 is nothing but factorial of 5, right? So I'll just note it something called as 5. Now you tell me factorial of 5 means, first it will go as factorial of 5. Now factorial of 5 means again it will be factorial of 5 here. Now again this x will become 5. So it will become 5
5
into,
minus 1,
and
4,
again
and this
factorial,
answer.
again it will become factorial of 5 minus 1, how much?
4.
4.
4.
Okay, now again it will go to the, first particular function, since you are calling the factorial 4 again. So like that it keep on going in unless you get a result as 1, so that you can return a 1 and exit this particular program. So let's execute this. Right click on that, run particular function, so you can get 720. What if you write the letter 4, no, sorry, I mean it is number 4, you would get something called as 24. Understood the factorial number recursion? What is a recursion? Recursion is a process of defining something in terms of itself. It is even possible for a function to call itself again and again. Okay, this type of
Exactly.
construct are termed as recursive functions. So a Python code to explain a recursive function, like which is calling itself again and again unless we get a shortened form of it. So I hope you understood the factorial number, and this is one of the easiest method for you to help yourself to understand about the recursive. You can pretty much practice this so that you can understand. Clear? Any doubts on this? Explain. We have done what is a function, what is a print, what is the difference between a print statement and a return statement, how do you call the a function, how do you pass the parameters on it, what are arguments and keyword arguments, how they are denoted, like with star arguments, double asterisk with keyword arguments, whereas the arguments will give you the result in the form of a tuple. Okay, and whereas the keyword arguments will give you the result in the form of a dictionary. Okay, and also we have done about the user inputs. How do you take a user input after calling a function? We have also learnt about the recursions. How do we use the recursions, and how do you can call the function again and again by using a factorial number? So you have learned the factorial method as well. So this is about it.